Welcome property investors. This is the Building in Perth podcast. If you're a property investor or you're curious about investing in property in Western Australia, this is the podcast for you. The reason for that is we're not going to hold back. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're certainly not going to bullshit you. And we're going to exploit everything that you need to know. There's a lot of negative press at the moment in WA regarding building, and it doesn't have to be. So what we're going to do is help you navigate through that bullshit and create your wealth free of charge. We're just giving you this information. Every month we're going to have special guests on who are industry professionals, and then we're going to release an episode every single Monday.
Boom, and we're back. Welcome to the Building in Perth podcast, everybody. I am your host, Chris Holland. At the time of recording, it's absolutely pissed down all week, so I hope you're all having a good week and not getting too wet. Now, this podcast is purely going to be about the time difference it takes to build a double brick construction house as opposed to a timber frame construction house, okay? So a big question that we get asked all the time, how can you guarantee 6 months? And it's quite simple. So I just want to dive into it a little bit for you and make you understand how we offer 6 month build time guarantee, okay? So, first of all, when you get your building permit, whether it's a timber frame house or a double brick house, doesn't matter, your building permit allows you to get on site. Now, before the slab gets laid, there's a few things that need to be done, okay? So we clear the site, we add your stormwater and drains, we do your pre-lay, which is your electrical and plumbing pre-lay, which basically all your conduits and stuff like that underneath the slab, that all gets dug in first. Then we level it back off, compact it, ready for slab. Now, before the slab gets poured, we have to spray it with a termite protection treatment. Then we put some black plastic down, add some real rods, and then we form it up, and then we pour the slab. Okay, so there's a little bit of work prior to that. Now, the main difference is when you build a double brick house, there's two parts to pour in your slab. Okay, so the first thing that gets done is your footings get poured. The footings is the perimeter of your slab. Now, this takes the outer skin of your double brick house. Obviously, double brick, there's two bricks with a 50mm cavity. So the footing gets poured first, which takes only the outside skin of the exterior of the building. It takes the weight of that, okay? Then, after the footings are done, the second part is your concrete slab. That gets poured and it gets all tied in together, okay? So it takes 2 days to pour a slab for a double brick house. Then the reason for that is your footing underlies the top of your slab. It's hard to show you with my hands, but I'll maybe insert a little diagram here. So as you can see, your footing gets poured, then your slab gets poured. Now, the weight of your roof actually sits on the internal brickwork wall, not the external. The external is just a facade. It's just for looks. It's not actual structural. All it does basically in a double brick house is hold your soffit, your eave lining material, and then it gives you a bit of depth for your window reveals and stuff like that. All the weight actually sits on the internal slab, internal brick, which then sits on top of your slab, which is undermined by the footing. So it's nice and solid. So basically, when your roof, the weight transfers down to the outside skins, all that weight gets pushed down and there's a whole heap of concrete underneath. So it's a very solid way of construction. Now, when you pour your footing, day number one. Number two, you pour your concrete slab. Because double brick construction is a heavy way of building, because obviously bricks weigh a lot heavier than timber, just pure and simply, we have to let the slab cure. Now, on minimum, you should let it cure for at least 4 weeks. But 4 to 6 weeks, you have to let the slab just sit there and cure. Now, that depends on what time of the year you pour your slab. If it's in summer, actually, you could probably build it a little bit. You let it cure a little bit quicker, but you have to constantly wet the slab to cool it down. It helps it cure faster and prevents stress cracking. If it's in winter, normally you need to let it sit a few more weeks longer. So basically, on average, let's just say you have to let it sit for 6 weeks. Okay, so you're not allowed to get on site for 6 weeks. Then what happens is we get the bricks delivered. So the bricks can get scattered all over the slab because they're big and heavy and quite hard to move around. Plus, there's a shitload of them. It would take days if you had to move them all by hand. So basically, a little bobcat/forklift comes on site and it spreads all the bricks all over the site for the brickies. So it makes it nice and easy for them. Not obviously putting them in spots where there's going to be walls, because after it gets the concrete gets poured, the brickie normally comes on and chalk lines and pings it all out. So basically, you'll know where all the walls are. Okay, so then the bobcat driver comes on and he places the concrete, the brick packs all around the site. So it makes it nice and easy for the labourer to then go ahead and move them while the brickie's laying them. Okay, so then it would take roughly, let's say, a 4x2 house with a 2-in-1 team. 2-in-1 means 2 brickies, 1 labourer. Most brickie teams need a labourer. They're the ones that actually move all the bricks, set up the set up the scaffolding, mix the mud, while the brickie just sits there and lays. That's the bit that makes money. Okay, so let's say a 2-in-1 team for a 4x2 house, 200 square meters. That roughly takes 2 weeks. So we waited 6 weeks for it to cure. Then it takes 2 weeks for the brickie to lay the bricks until we achieve plate height. Plate height is when all the walls are up before the roof starts. That's 8 weeks. 2 months from slab down to plate height is roughly 2 months. Let's just flip over to timber frame or lightweight construction. Number one, we don't do footings and slab. It's all in one. So basically, I don't really know the reason why double brick builders can't do this, because you can, but basically when we pour our slab, the footings at the end are dug in as well. I'll attach another diagram here so you can see the difference. So as you can see, this can all get poured in one day. Okay, so let's just say we pour the slab on a Monday, slab/footing for a lightweight construction job. Let's do it by Monday. Then generally what happens, there's 2 forms of construction. There's a stick build, which means the timber gets delivered literally in sticks, single length sticks, or there's truss fabrication, which means the walls come pre-built and we stand them up and secure them down, brace them off. Either way, if it's a stick build, it probably takes about 3 days to build and install all the walls for a 4x2 house, 200 square meters. If it's prefab, it's 1 day and all the walls are done. So to give you an idea, if we pour the slab on Monday, we wouldn't start building on site until the Wednesday. So let's leave it a couple of days. Then we would have the whole thing finished by Friday. Worst case, Saturday morning if it was a stick build. So 1 week we achieve plate height, or 8 weeks we achieve plate height. That is basically that's the long shot of it, to be honest. So we're 2 months quicker just to achieve plate height, but more importantly, in a timber frame house, or a double brick house, I should say, when the bricks get delivered on site and the brickie's working, there's normally, especially in the new estates, there's not a lot of room on site to deliver the roof timbers. So roof timbers take up quite a large portion of area, okay? Because number 2 things, the brickies are laying the bricks, or they're nearly finished. There's a whole heap of mess all the time. Now, builders don't normally have a skip bin on site at this stage. The brickie normally just comes out the front and creates a big pile of all the leftover brick material and rubbish. There's heaps of waste. There's concrete, there's lintels, there's steel, there's flashings, there's bricks, there's scaffolding. There's a whole heap of mess, actually. So basically, normally what happens is the brickie comes out the front or puts it in the garage and creates this big, massive sort of 10 cube meter of brick rubble. And then a bobcat comes in and clears it up. And then the roof timber gets delivered. If the brick rubble doesn't get cleaned prior to the delivery of roof timber, it's just dangerous. It's a messy, untidy site and it's dangerous. You should always clean it as you build. As you know, a clean site is a safe site, and a safe site is a better place to work. There's less chance of people getting injured. So technically, they should get rid of all the brick rubble, and then they'll deliver the roof carpenter's timber. Then, once the timber's on site, then you need to actually get a carpenter on site. Now, a roof chippy normally takes about 5-6 days to build a roof. So if the roof timber's not there for Monday, but he finishes the job on Friday, for instance, let's say the roof timber gets delivered on a Wednesday, but that bloke finishes, or his team of chippies finish on a Friday at another job, he will start another job. He's not going to take 3 days off waiting for your roof timber. So then he'll jump on site to another job and he'll start that. And then he'll finish that the following Friday. Then he can come back to you on the Wednesday. Now, what this does means that there's been sort of, 3-4 days worth of roof timber being on site. Theft is a huge thing. So a lot of people like to drive past and steal a bit of timber here and there. So if the roof chippy comes to site, when he's finally ready, and he sees that material's been missing or stolen, he won't start it. He'll go and start another job for another builder or another site that that builder owns, and so on and so forth. So you can quite quickly see 8 weeks. Now, to get onto the roof being completed could take another 3 weeks on average, okay? So we're talking nearly 3 months now to achieve just getting the roof up, plate height, and then the roof constructed. With timber frame, especially if it's stick build and or prefab construction, the roof timber gets delivered at the exact same time. If it's prefab, the waste is so minimal, you couldn't fill up the back of a ute with the leftover timber. Normally this is what we call bracing timbers, so we just order extra timber to have everything braced and put it nice and straight and in line. So there's not wastage on site. It's nice and safe, it's cleaner, it's tidier, it's more enjoyable to work on, but more importantly, the blokes that put up the walls are the same guys that build the roof. So there's no delay. So for instance, if the walls get finished getting built at say 10 a.m. on a Friday, they're not just going to knock off early like brickies would, and then certainly not going to start another job. They go straight into building the roof as well. So there's no delay with labour or booking people to site. If you've got your wall material and your roof material on site, which is well achievable, when the walls get finished, the roof gets started straight away. So technically, from slab down, 2 weeks, your roof's finished. If you compare that to a double brick house, it's close to 3 months. There's a massive difference. So a double brick construction should take about 3 months. A double brick construction should roughly take 9 months. Now that the rat race of the booms sort of getting a little bit quieter, although trades are still busy, but on average, any builder should be able to build a double brick house in 9 months. As you can just see from this explanation video that I'm giving you now, there's a good 3 months difference just between the bricky and the roof chippy, as opposed to a chippy and a chippy with a lightweight construction job. So take that 3 months off of 9 months, we're at 6 months. That's the trick. It's not rocket science. That's how we achieve 6 month build times, and it's just by changing the way you build houses to a more efficient, economical, sustainable, green, everything. There's just no negatives really, other than the mentality of double bricks better. So I hope that makes sense, guys. If anyone else needs some clarification on why we build double brick, what's the difference, etc., please just DM me. And as always, thank you for subscribing. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps us daily. I don't like doing this for free. Just a joke. Don't worry. Relax. But no, thanks for listening. If you need any more clarification or any other topics you want us to talk about on the podcast, please just reach out. Other than that, have a good week, guys, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.
Please stay tuned, like, subscribe so you never miss anything, and enjoy.